Just setting up the video for 2 minutes.
We're good.
Okay. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Planning Committee, 27th of August. I see we've got some members of the public here tonight. If the fire alarm sounds, we have the exit through there, down the steps, and we meet outside Faces. Does anybody need any help? Just let us know. Agenda item number 1. Apologies for absence. I think we've got a lot today.
We received apologies from the Mayor, Councillor Hunt, from Councillor Jackson and Councillor Thomas.
I received from Councillor Payne.
Right.
I didn't get anything from Lawrence, but I do know he's away.
Okay.
Agenda item number 2, declarations of interest. I see none. Agenda item number 3, approve the minutes of the Planning Committee from the 6th of August. Councillor Romans, Councillor Dodds, seconded. All in favour? You. And to receive and consider draft notes of the Neighbourhood Planning Committee, 20th of August. And so, Kath?
I'd just like to point out there is a recommendation in here for the committee.
Yep.
To spend some money.
Yes. And
That's on page 10. The
Yes.
was to approve the expenditure of up to £3,100 for the commissioning and distribution of a housing needs survey.
all in favour? I'm quite happy to propose that.
Yep.
Yeah. All in favour? Okay. Noted. Next, public participation. I think we've got 2. Would you care to, Julian, do you want to hold on a second and we'll, yeah.
Good evening, councillors. My name is Rob Workman of Lyman Listed Heritage Planning Consultants. I'm here to represent Mr. and Mrs. Bennett of Cornerstones on the Fairmile. Hopefully we'll have time to review the amended plan submitted for change of use of the annex and as an independent 2-bedroom dwelling and subdivision of the plot. The amended plans amount to fixing shut and one roof light and obscuring the glass. This amendment was a response to the SOPC planning officer's concerns during a site visit. The officer's concern is now recommending the application for approval, as there would be no overbearing impacts in terms of privacy and amenity as previously thought. As such, the application meets all local and national policies and their concerns have been resolved. As a resident of some 44 years, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett would welcome their town council support. If any members have any questions regarding the plans, I'd be happy to answer them now or during the agenda item. Thank you for your time.
Okay, the only time you get chances to
Okay,
during this
fine.
mix up.
So,
The only question I've got is that there was a comment from, is it from Roughlandscroft, that said about a fence on their property. Now, that hasn't been sort of seen by anybody here. We're not really clear. I just like to understand where that's been in, that comment has been in place since the last last time it was put forward. So I was just wondering if there was, is this just a neighbour, is it a dispute?
It does stem from a boundary dispute, I would understand, and that hedge in question along that boundary with the neighbour is actually 10 foot high. It's a thick hedge that there is no issue. The planning officer had no concerns regarding it.
So just from our side, that doesn't impact anything we would say from the planning perspective. Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Anybody else got to speak? Got to ask? No? Thanks. Mr. Brooks?
Do you want to speak now? Or
Please,
come
yeah.
to 11?
You'll have to do speaking now during the public participation.
What I want to say is I'm speaking as the Vice Chair of the HSI.
Yep.
And we will be responding to the MPK, which is CLG consultation.
Yep.
We would be delighted to share our thoughts with you. We will be trying to share with us.
Okay.
We can at least remove any nonsense.
Yeah.
We can contribute to each other's contribution.
Fantastic.
But
Just from,
say the actual view of the consultation is more what it's omitted as to the core objective of building more dwellings is very clear, but there's so much omitted. It's quite difficult to see how they can possibly get to that number. Even if they just impose them on district councils, that's going to get houses. It's just that, of course.
Thank you. When we do discussion on agenda item 11, Mr. Brooks isn't really part of the discussion, but given that there's not very many people.
So I just clarify that because there's not many councillors here today, we'll speak of it agenda item 11, and then we'll bring it back as well. So in 2 weeks' time, we can speak again when we've got some more councillors at that point. So you're welcome to input into what we've said that today, or you can come back as well.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm not on it.
Okay, that's fine.
One of the reasons I wanted to make that point of coming today was to establish a
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
methodology, and then we can exchange emails and do it.
Yeah, that's
do it
fine.
that way, I think.
yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Let's jump to agenda item number 5, then plans amendments, then we can get to cornerstones and try and help our do what we can. Agenda item number 5, plans amended. P24 S0991 full 151 Reading Road.
It was recommended approval, so I haven't got any further comments.
Yes.
The only comment from the Henley Society is we have no comment other than to read the ownership issues.
Yep.
In Quebec Road, that's
So
their comment, and I don't know the answer to that.
I think again, we come back to what's in front of us. They're talking about the change in the conversion of attic space. There should be nothing really around the ownership of Quebec Road, so I think
Okay.
I appreciate what they're saying, but also I don't think it bears any reference to what we're talking about. I'll approve from the
Yeah.
motion of the chair for approval.
Yep.
On favour, against, fine, it's approval. Cornerstones,
Yeah, thank you. So the committee did recommend refusal last time. There's been amended plans submitted. And SODC has confirmed that the submitted plan showing the window has addressed their concerns that they had raised previously around existing overlooking onto the proposed property. And on balance, SODC are now at the view that it would be acceptable.
thank you. And from, before we sort of go into it, just for your benefit, Councillor Lambert, this came up originally, it was put forward that a second dwelling could be built as long as it remained ancillary. Circumstances changed for the owners. They came back earlier this year. We recommended refusal on the grounds that it was ancillary. It was put forward twice, once unchanged, once changed, with personal circumstances related. And on both times it was very tight on both occasions. We haven't got everybody in here today. However, it has gone back to SODC, and we have got, SODC have come back and said they would like us to reconsider our refusal on the basis that it would be likely to be approved if it went to SODC. It has also been called in, so it's more just to set the context so you understand what the discussions are about.
When was the building originally built?
The ancillary dwelling was 2017, 2018, 2019. The annex,
2023.
oh, 23, sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, the planning was some years ago.
Yeah.
4, 3.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the planning was from 2019 or so. The build it was actually finished in 2023. Mr. Dodds.
The case officer recommends approval, and the applicant has complied
Yeah.
with the condition there. Our original complaints were very much what you've articulated, and that's what the Henley Society is still saying.
Yep.
But I think given all that's happened, I would be happy to approve this now. Yeah,
Proposing.
I'm
proposal for
proposing
approval.
you.
Anybody care to second? Second. Anybody care to speak? All in favour of approval? You go. that's finished. You may, unless you want to sit through the rest of it. No problem. It would make, from my perspective anyway, if this was refused and it went to SODC, then we've got a waste of time for people at SODC doing this. It may or may not get approved. If it doesn't get approved, you have to end up selling the entire thing. Somebody knocks it down and builds 2 more houses, and it's still going to cost either 2 or 3 more properties. It makes so much more sense to leave it as it is and accept the personal circumstances, and also the record, you know, for anybody else who wants to put it forward, Henley Town Council will oppose where it is ancillary. We don't think it's the right thing to do. Personal circumstances, and I think the work you put in from my side, I think it's just made the difference. So-
know that it was the one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand. Thank you very much.
You can go and have a big glass of wine. And celebrate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, 3133, Old Armistice, P24 S062 full and P24 S2063 listed building. Do the two of them together.
Yeah, so, so this is a listed building. The committee recommended refusal last time for failing to meet nationally described space standards and failing to comply with policy in 3 of the local plan because they haven't submitted viability information. They have now done that as part of their amended plans, and they demonstrated that the internal dimensions of all the new flats do meet the national prescribed space standards. Some further amendment information has been submitted in the last couple of days around newts and providing further information on that. So it looks like they've addressed the concerns raised previously. Yeah, thank you.
On the basis of Councillor Dodds.
Yes, I think they've, I mean, we can't force them to keep it as offices. I think the case they put forward, there are a lot of office space in the town. Yeah, very, very much so. So we can't put that. Space standards we were worried about, but if the application ticks that box, then I think we have to go with approval really.
Fantastic. So proposal for approval. Seconded by Councillor Rowlands. Councillor Lambert. Okay. All in favour of this? Thank you. Now, agenda item number 6.
Do we do LB or is that?
This is the
Oh,
agenda.
yeah.
I think. Agenda item number 6, plans and youth. First one, P23 S2827. I've got to read these out apparently because people can't hear them. P23 S2827 listed building and P24 S1117 full for the upper floor offices, 31 Marketplace.
So
I'll take them together.
yeah, the heritage officer has an objection to this. The application needs to be more precise about the changes proposed, and they want amendments made to the heritage statement. So that's my comment on that.
And on behalf of Councillor Jackson, the drawings were absolutely awful. Councillor Dodds.
The only thing I was worried about was the loss of support for the shop. Like, are they still going to have a staff room, an office and storage? Because it would be such a pity to compromise the viability of that shop. So that was my concern, really.
That was Councillor Owens.
We've just approved a change of use for something else.
Yeah.
And whenever I see these come up, particularly in the marketplace, my first thoughts are, right, okay, that's a loss of retail space, that's a loss of office space. I will still go with what I was originally going to go with, which is rejection.
Okay. So you got any views on that, Councillor Lambert?
It's a very big unit.
It is.
Basement as well, isn't it?
Yep. Yes, Councillor.
Can I point out that it's a variation of conditions, so it's just a allocation.
So it's got nothing to do with
It's not actually for the principle of the
Right.
change of use, because that's already been
Yeah.
determined.
The only concern I had was on the drawings that it was difficult from the plans to understand what the internal changes were because they hadn't given us the
Yes,
changes.
It doesn't, it's not clear, is it, on these?
It's not clear and the drawings with the lights, I don't quite know whether the it now implies that there's going to be additional roof lighting or anything else like that. And on the basis of that, I would,
That's it.
it's really not clear what the changes are. I know we have a proposal for acceptance and I understand the rationale for it.
Can we ask those questions
Yes.
about where are the staff?
Yeah,
Because, I mean, it's not marked on the plans, is it? And the next thing will be, oh, the shop's not viable anymore, and
yeah,
that's the end of that. So I think we could ask the question of the applicant,
yeah.
what arrangements are there for
To keep the
support,
shop
yeah,
alive.
staff from office storage space,
Yeah.
what you normally need for a fairly large shop like that.
Because it is a prime business, it's a successful business in Henley. And
Yeah.
we just don't want to lose anything related to that.
Mm.
I'm minded to just turn it down on the basis that we haven't got enough information on what
Yeah.
the changes are. And we'd like to understand, as Councillor Dodds has said, how do we ensure that there's no impact to the viability of the premises?
Mhm.
Okay, all in favour?
Mhm.
Okay, P24, S2431, householder 5 St Anne's Close.
I don't really comment.
Mm, I think it's fine.
Proposal for acceptance.
Proposal for acceptance, I'll second that.
Mm.
All in favour? P24, S2448, householder 19 Flowercrofts.
No comment.
I'm going to propose from the chair, approval for acceptance. Yeah. P24, S2456, householder 29 Blandy Road.
Yeah, so they're changing the pitch of the roof, so they're proposing to increase it. And it will change in terms of the appearance, overall appearance of the property. It's quite a standard array of housing in that part, so there would be some sort of impact. But it's not conservation area and it's not listed. They are proposing a carport as well as a number of additional alterations to the property, and the carport will protrude forward of the front of the property. You can see it on that right hand side of the plan.
Any issue from a planning officer perspective?
It might have some impact on the amenity of the neighbour and it could impact character, but as I've said,
It's not listed.
it's not listed and it's conservation, so.
I was, the ridge height's gone, it's 1,500 higher, yeah. And I know years ago when we applied to go a bit higher on the roof, and SODC were very tricky about it and didn't like it at all. So I was surprised that this has just gone through really, so I think we should flag it up.
Okay.
Mm.
So proposal for refusal.
Mhm.
We have a proposal for refusal
Mhm.
on the grounds that it's changing the height of the roof.
Mhm. Considerably.
Yes, yeah. We have a proposal unseconded.
Yeah.
All in favour of the proposal?
Just smacks of overdevelopment.
It's huge.
So you want to reference character and impact, yeah, okay,
And specifically the height, the height, the pitch change and the height change of the roof.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, call out the character. But you know, at the same time, we do think it is out of character.
Yeah,
But it may well be that, you know, it's not a conservation, area, it's not a listed building, however,
yeah,
it doesn't change things.
yeah, and it's overdevelopment,
Yeah.
thank you.
P24,
Music vote.
we did, yes. P24, S2476, listed building, it's just the internals, isn't it?
Yeah, no comment really, the Heritage Office consulted, so they'll look at issues around the impact on the listed building.
It's a very strange reconfiguration, but that is up to them.
Yep.
Mm.
Heritage officer's fine. I propose for acceptance from the chair. Hello, favourite. 18 Harcourt. P24 S2508 S73 for variation of conditions. And then Jodie.
I didn't really have a comment, it's just around the reconfiguration, it's already been approved and it's just moving it.
Slightly.
So, yeah, no comment.
So there's no chance that that could then be redeveloped or potentially taken back to give it even further visit. It's not like moving it into a better position.
No, because you
No,
have
it's
to
just-
deal with the
yeah.
application as it is.
Yeah,
We
fair
don't-
enough.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to propose acceptance from the chair unless somebody else has got anything to add to it. Favour?
Yep.
Okay. P24 S2512 for the Botland factory.
The heritage officers consulted, so I have no additional comment.
Woody?
I'm happy to propose acceptance.
Secondly, councillor Dodds. All in favour? P24 S2516 full. I like to mix up the numbers sometimes and that way it keeps people on their toes. Rear of 24 Hart Street.
No, this is just a proposal for a single story detached building. Help with the shop for preparation. So no further comment on that.
It's not going to impact any residential neighbours around there.
It's quite a small.
Yeah.
Outbuilding, as you can see.
It helps the business, I think.
Helps the business. It's
They can't turn it into a flat, so.
yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
We can,
Airbnb?
Mhm.
you could add, request a condition that is ancillary to the business.
Yeah,
Yes, I think that'd be a good idea.
That might always work.
to start.
No, I think it'd be a good idea just to protect things, yeah.
Okay. We have a proposal. Did we vote for it? No, we haven't voted for it yet, have we? We have a proposal for acceptance has been seconded. All in favour? You. Marshall's Pack and Prime, P24 S2564 household. Replacement of roof and frames. Yeah, I'll propose acceptance from the chair.
Go for it.
Seconded. All in favour?
Mhm.
48 St Mark's.
Have a dormer.
P24 S2565 householder.
So yeah, we dealt with this previously as a committee, and it included the dormer and the windows on the front roof. We recommended refusal due to mainly impact on character in the conservation area, and SODC agreed with that and recommended refusal. So they've come in with another application, which looks very similar to the last one. They're proposing an L-shaped dormer window and also the bit of Alex is on the front there, so I again think it would impact the historical character of the form character of the property.
So have they made sufficient changes from what we refused last time? And if the answer is no, then
I think William had concern with the overall principle of that within that road, especially the dormer windows.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they are rear dormers, but
yeah, but it's, it's slightly being amended.
one of the concerns I had was that the actual size of it was going to be, there was room for like additional bedrooms up there, and suddenly you just had this huge house.
Yeah,
Anyway. Let me cut a comment.
So very similar objections to previous,
yeah.
Is there a precedent in the road? Because the dormer being at the back doesn't strike me.
There
as a
are
problem.
precedents, there are neighbours with dormers.
At
It's
the
just
front
at
or
the back, and there's one or two at the front as well.
And are there any with skylights at the front?
Yes, there are. This is the concern. It isn't just the dormers, it's actually the scale of the development. However. That was last time. This is what we have in front of us now. and SODC had their own reasons for refusal. Do we, given that we've not got a lot of people here, I'm quite happy to propose for refusal.
Yeah.
And then see if it comes back to us. Or if it goes into SODC, if you want to call it in. Okay. Okay, so a propose for refusal on the grounds that it's not significant enough change from last time.
Yep.
The same reasons apply.
Yeah.
Okay, seconded, councillor Dodds, all in favour,
Mhm.
all against? And finally, 3 Walton Avenue, P24, S2582, householder.
Adjustments to the roof, wall insulation, we didn't have any comments.
Sounds like a straightforward.
I think this one is very interesting because this guy, it was Tyler Greener Henley, isn't he?
Yes.
And I think this is a lovely example of how to retrofit your house. And by altering the roof piece allowed for that. So I hope it's held up as an example of how you could retrofit out there, probably about 30s, 1930s houses, those pebble dash houses. And I think it's a lovely example of how you can do it.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll allow people to look around and use it as a model really for the town, for Greener Henley. Yeah.
Do you like the use of the image in the
Yes.
top window?
Yeah.
So proposal for, are you proposing for approval?
Yeah.
Got a second? What have a second? Yep, all in favour? Okay. And calling applications for 48 St. Mark's.
St. Mark's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Which is gone. It's the last one. Apologies. So decision notices. Oh, that's what I've got to sign, so that's why they're not on there. 14, page 15, 60, here we go. Decision notices, agenda item number 8, decision notices, 45 Berkshire approved, Casa Major, the barn with the sign, probably the ensuite for the bull, 5 Reading Road, Deanfield College, Free Marketplace, and 101 Reading Road. Okay. Agenda item number 9 is the, apologies, certificate of local development for Long Dean. Note that. There's nothing special, is there? No. And then we get to agenda item number 10 for the definitive map modification order for Longridge Wood Road, which do we going to speak on that or just to note that it's
Just that we recommend that we supported it last time, and if that's just the report coming back to us, yeah.
fine. And then we're agenda item number 11, which is the comments on the national planning policy framework for our new government. Stop us
Yes,
to it, Jodie. The whole 115 questions.
so as I said earlier, we'll bring it back again in 2 weeks' time, the next agenda. The consultation closes on the 24th of September.
Yeah.
This is for the proposed changes to the National Planning Policy Framework. And there's over 100 questions as part of the consultation, so I won't go through all of them. I'll try and summarise what the main points are and the points that were raised by the Neighbourhood Plan Committee because they discussed it last week. So they're building on their election manifesto commitments, and this is the consultation on reforms to the NPPF. They've got a commitment to deliver 1.5 million homes in England over the next 5 years to get Britain building
Classic
again. So the theme of that runs throughout this consultation around house building, and it's also proposing to reverse many of the changes made to the NPPF by the previous government in December 2023. So this includes making the standard method for calculating housing requirements for local authorities mandatory, and removing wording inserted in December that sets out that there could be exceptional circumstances for departing from it. There's more emphasis on social rent and supporting economic growth and clean energy. There's radical increase in onshore wind proposed through these alterations. So starting with the housing numbers, the housing requirements for South Oxfordshire using the new standard method would increase from 500 to 1,150,
Wow.
79. However, there is an uplift within the local plan at the moment, which means that there would only be an increase of around 300 homes annually, because they've already got a housing number of between 900 and 1,200 per year. So it's not as bigger increase as it looks on the, if you look at the consultation. So this is an approach to increase house building to help improve supply and affordability by building more homes. Focusing on development on existing sizes of places and affordability rather than projection of numbers of households, which was done previously. So the southeast does get a large increase in housing numbers. By bringing back the 5-year land supply, that would be more pressure to build houses in this area. There would be protection for neighbourhood plans, however, from speculative development, because that's not being altered within the framework. Councils would be required to review greenbelt boundaries and release greenbelt where necessary to meet unmet housing need, and allow development on brownfield in principle. So in terms of neighbourhood plan committee's comments on that, they felt that they had concerns about proposals around greenbelt and the grey land they're suggesting, and also bringing back 5-year land supply. They felt that the higher housing targets could result in more ribbon type development. They felt that there should be a better definition of grey belt, because they felt that at the moment it was too subjective. Also more needed to be done to prevent land banking and actually to bring forward permissions that are currently got planning permission to be built out. So they felt that the emphasis was in the wrong place in terms of focusing and putting pressure on local authorities to release land. Do you agree with that in terms of, do you have any more comments in terms of the housing
The big
targets and
thing from me, from just looking at it, is around the land banking and the, how do you, if their focus is on building additional housing and they're focusing on trying to make it affordable, the only way you can do it is by bringing land prices down. Developers, people who sell the land are still going to be holding out. There isn't a market for buying houses at the prices that are at the minute. There's stagnation. So how does this actually answer what they want to do, especially in this area? I mean, I can see in other places where you're trying to build a larger number of houses, but adding 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more houses here, especially around Greenbelt, is going to just attract more people to build one single big house on Greenbelt. We need to be able to support the areas such as Highland Farm, such as Thames housing down in the Fairmont, and actually have room to put larger numbers of houses and to find the developers who can do that. And I can't see anything in here that supports us in doing that. I think what Julian said before is right. It's if we want to build more houses, it goes in the right way, but there's things that are missing from it.
I would hope
Infrastructure.
in the budget, there's something about this. It's always seemed to me absolutely ridiculous that a piece of farmland, 5,000 an acre, suddenly it gets a permission and it's worth £1 million.
Yeah.
And that's 40% of the value of the house.
Yeah.
And I would like that this Labour government addresses that in the budget. It's the only way you're going to get people won't like it. There'll be lots of squeals and there'll be lots of people lobbying up there for it not to happen.
Yep.
But I absolutely agree. It's never seemed right to me, or hit them with a 90% tax, one way or another. Okay.
So moving on to affordable housing, local authorities would be required to consider the need for social rent when bringing together evidence and their policies within the local plan. At the moment, they don't have that requirement on them. The Neighbourhood Plan Committee felt that the NPPF should be doing more around affordable housing and policy, going further to define actual affordable housing, and ensuring there's a minimum set requirement for local authorities to deliver social housing rather than just
General.
ensuring they look at what the need is. They need to do more than that. And also they mentioned that it should be based on national median wage rather than local wages, as wages in Henley are really high. So in terms of affordable housing in Henley, to look at that.
I think you'd also have to look around and say that, yes, they may be higher here, but everything else is expensive as well.
Is affordable housing always going to be with SOHA or a housing association, or how else do they, since
This
local authorities don't build council houses anymore?
On the, I know.
Who's going to do it?
On the government website, there is a bit that says that they're addressing the planning constraints first, and they expect to then look at the affordable housing, everything else, and how they get councils to start building again.
Good.
So that's the next bit that will be coming up if they bring it through. But if they do want to bring it through and they do want to start building more houses, councils can't just do it on their own. We haven't got the ability to go and build 10 affordable
Like we
houses, let
used
alone.
to.
Yeah.
And Henley Borough Council. But that's the only way, because even SOHA rents are really high. You have to be earning quite a good whack to be able to pay that and keep a family. So it all goes back to the original cost of the land and all of that, and local authority being letting local authorities build houses as they did after the war in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Go back to
And setting it up again.
people live here because this is what the jobs are, so put the jobs somewhere else, move them out, and build more land.
Yeah, I'm getting them now. So
Sorry.
I've got a few more points left. So they should be doing more around holiday lets and protecting the current housing stock. There's limited around that in this consultation. This is the Neighbourhood Plan Committee. They also felt that there should be protections against higher densities when it came to expense of character, but I'm wondering if that does contradict with what you were saying earlier.
So the character of the dwellings is maybe less relevant than the affordability. And
Okay,
to my mind anyway, I'm not sure. what
yeah,
the
so
other-
I can include that and we can have a
Yeah.
discussion next time
Yeah.
when we've got more people.
Yep.
So also just in terms of climate change, and they felt there was limited around suggestions for dealing with the issues around climate change, or apart from promoting wind projects, and more should be done in terms of promoting higher housing standards and ensuring that carbon neutrality was compulsory. So and then just concerns about right to buy and that needing to be overhauled, and issues around flooding and sewage.
Yeah.
So if you agree, I'll go on that basis and try and work on a response so we can discuss it again.
Sounds fine.
If you have any additional comments, or if you take a look at the consultation and want to feed it back, then email me.
And just in case anybody's interested, I'm going to send out a link that Julian kindly sent out, which is
This-
the entire list of questions
Okay.
and what they relate to.
An end to right to buy.
It's the 26th of September, is it?
Are they suggesting an end of
Uh,
to buy?
24th
No,
of September.
it's just was one of the
Okay.
points that Michelle had put forward. Could we put back in terms of approval, in terms of response? Because these are the kind of things that prevent it. And if you look around Henley, I know, I'm sure you all know people who have I'm not gonna say benefited because they've lived there for a long time, they bought the house.
I know, we all,
It's been sold
yeah,
for a sizable amount.
but then the money was never reinvested, it went to
Exactly.
Thatcher changed her mind.
Okay, I think we're good.
That's fine,
Yeah.
thank you.
From your perspective,
There's just a couple, actually. One is there's a comment about, I think, a controversial issue about building up on existing houses without the need for anybody else's permission. It comes across the as a PPR. So I just checked that paragraph.
They already, yeah,
Yes, they have known the fact that only 1/3 of LTAs have a local plan.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there, other than to say that the 2/3.
yeah, it's the same.
There's one paragraph that actually says those 1/3 of LPAs only call for building 230,000 dwellings per annum. So if 1/3 call for that, what's,
Yeah, it's 900,000.
I suspect it's typo. That's,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
paragraph.
thank you.
But nothing about getting those 2/3 of LPAs to.
Sign up.
the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Okay, agenda item 12, progress report for applications call in. Which one was it? What I can go through them.
Let's have a look.
Yeah,
So we discussed 31, 33 Hart Street and Cornerstones. Have we got any update for the councillor on it?
Yeah, no.
So,
Do you want me to rescind the calling for 31 to 33, the old armistice?
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
What the land officer was saying, I think he's going to support it.
yeah. It's fine.
And I'll also rescind.
Cornerstones,
yeah.
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Final agenda, progress report for planning committee. This is you.
I think it's a mixture, but
Yeah.
so the traffic and pedestrian survey. Actually, to be honest, there's not really an update. The draft design is still expected in October 2024. They were carrying out topographical surveys beginning of last week. So we're just now waiting for the design to come back. I think the next two items, I don't know whether you want to say anything, Jodie.
We haven't got dates for the next local plan consultation, but it's expected later this year, so we'll keep an eye out on that because we'll want to bring that back to the committee. Shopfront design guide, haven't really got much of an update. I need to compile the responses from the neighbourhood plan committee members and then send them off to the SODC. Henley Manor Care Home is being held up. There's no update. We have been in contact with SADC, but they haven't provided an update.
But you can have a footpath, but we're not going to do anything about enforcing the footpath.
No.
So all the climate and nature emergency projects, there's another Haniag meeting booked now for, I think, the middle of October. So there should be some updates on the projects that we're waiting for members to take forward. The ones where we're waiting for a project officer for biodiversity, the job advert has gone out for that project officer. So I think that's probably a 4-week window for responses. So we should have an update in a couple of meetings' time on where we are with that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.